Avondale Shipyards Incorporated, New Orleans, Louisiana, has completed a $42 million expansion and modernization program designed to make it one of the most progressive and competitive shipbuilders in the world. Located on the west bank of the Mississippi River, upstream from New Orleans, America's second largest seaport, Avondale was established at the site of the old Southern Pacific Railway ferry, where railway cars were once transported across the river by barges before completion of the Huey P. Long Bridge. Founded in 1938 as a facility to build and repair barges and other river equipment, Avondale made use of the old ferry ramp and rails to close out. Alternative employees were assembled towboats, fishing boats, sugar mill equipment, and components for locks and dams. Those people are now the nucleus of what has become Louisiana's largest industrial workforce. Today, Avondale, now a subsidiary of the Ogden Corporation, is a bustling, productive, and dynamic organization which constructs vessels of all types for America's merchant marine, the oil exploration and transportation industries, the United States Navy, and Coast Guard.
Welcome to the Clowncast weekly podcast show, where the topic is we never know. We just wing it, and you know it's going to be a good time. This week we got to take it all the way back to Avondale. That's where it all started for me. That's where I was born and raised. That's where a lot of my history. That's where a lot of my upcoming and leading to the adventures of my life all started at. And it really was the best time to grow up. But at the same time, it was supposed to be an American dream that never really happened. But we're going to get into all that. But first, I got to bring in no other than, like I say it, I'm going to continue to say it, man. It's a family member to me. It's Uncle Leroy. You can't say Leroy without bringing the junior in first. What up?
I am in the building, man. What up, what up, what up?
That shirt.
Uncle Leroy, don't say that. Leroy. Look, hey, man, y'all definitely got to check out the fresh merch, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, like your shirt, bro.
Always got to shout out Sports Talk with Friends, man. Without them, we wouldn't even be doing this. We wouldn't even be doing this with them.
Appreciate you, man. I'm gonna tell you what's crazy. So, you know, we talking about Avondale, and shout out to Avondale, man. We had the nice little clip that we came in from, and it's crazy because, you know, we've seen so much about the shipyard, and we've seen the guy who was like, man, real 1980-ish, you know, looking like a insurance salesman. But I mean,
right. That's what I'm saying. It was a neighborhood built for the working blue collar type person, man. And before my time, it might have been like the houses was going. They were selling the houses. They were like, I thought there's an old flyer going around. It was like $12,000-$16,000 to buy the house. But over time, shipyard, Avondale, the shipyard actually started closing, and other people started it honestly became a racially mixed. I want to almost say project in a way, like over time.
Hey, bro, I could believe it. Because I'm gonna tell you what's crazy, because seeing, like, you know, the dude on the clip, you know what I'm saying, it's totally different from the people, you know what I'm saying, like, I'm from out the Seven Wall, you know what I'm saying, I'm from out the Wall, you know what I'm saying, and we used to always hit licks, you know what I'm saying, be like, we could get the jaws from all the train, you know what I'm saying, you could get a lot of stuff from all the shipyard, so people, I ain't never really seen people that look like dude, you know what I'm saying?
Right. As I said, it was meant to be a very blue collar, and growing up in the 80s there, it really was like everybody's family worked, like everybody had a good upbringing. And the neighborhood itself, like we had a train yard that went through it. Everybody knew everybody. They actually built the neighborhood, like where I grew up was Avondale Homes. And yeah, so you actually, like, right next to the shipyard, there's Bridge City. And then there's Avondale, and then a part of Avondale, you had Caney Heights, and then it goes on to Wagaman and all that down there. But that's what was always crazy to me. So you got Westwego and Bridge City that are their own cities, and then you throw in Avondale and Katy Heights in that, but it's all under the same area code. That never really made no sense to me.
That's crazy. But I'm gonna tell you, like, because only in Kennedy Heights, I knew they had a lot of females. You know what I'm saying? Avondale. You know what I'm saying? To me, I always thought they had the shipyard and the train yard, because that's what we used to get. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get you some train, get you some shoes, get you some gear or something like that. But wait, so you mean to tell me that Avondale was clout chasing? That wasn't even much in Avondale?
No, well, technically, no. It was actually in Bridge City. The train station was more Avondale. Like, we were a little ways away from the river, but if you wanted to take that hike in a straight line, you can get to the shipyard for sure. But we was actually a little ways away from the shipyard. Bridge City is the neighborhood that's actually the shipyard. Like you can't live in Bridge City without seeing them ships in your backyard and stuff.
Wow.
Bridge City is very small though. They call it Bridge City because it's right next to the Huey P. Long Bridge. But that, it's amazing. So like you brought up like Candy Heights. Like Candy Heights was actually a part of Avondale. Candy Heights was the black neighborhood of Avondale, and then you had Avondale, which was Avondale. That was the racially mixed. Throughout the whole streets, like you had everybody, man. We had whites, blacks, Mexicans, all in the front. Your first two streets, Rosalie, was all the apartments. That was the projects to us. And then you had Avondale, which was one street, and every street came up to it. So there was only one way in and one way out of this neighborhood. We're going to get to that later, though. That came into our advantage and disadvantage later. But in the very back of the neighborhood, across the street from the gym, they actually built a Vietnamese project, which is what we called it. And it was just Vietnamese back there. And that, between us and them, a lot of history throughout the years on that. We're gonna get to that later in the show. Hey, that was some crazy times. But for what it was supposed to be and what it has turned into now, it's crazy to sit there and watch just evolve into that. And like I was a part of it. Some of my friends, like there's a lot of us. Me and my friends talk about it all the time on the internet. Like, you got to figure there was about 32 of us growing up, and they might be fucking 10 of us still alive. Like, dude, between killing, suicide, ODs, like just all kind of murder, dude, like all kind of shit, bro. Like at the end of the day, it was a tough place to grow up. But at the same time, it was the best place to grow up because we actually got to be kids. Like the 80s was a different time to be growing up. It wasn't until the 90s and 2000s where we really started fucking up and shit.
I mean, because it's crazy. It's kind of like the movie, how you popped in. You know what I'm saying? We had the script of the guy answer the phone, looking real good, and then you pop in, boom, with Poe Clown and the Demon Man. Because bro, that's how it was. You know what I'm saying?
That's how Avondale turned into.
Right, I meet these white cats from Avondale, you know what I'm saying? They would be like, "Yo, I'm from Avondale," you know what I'm saying? I'd be like, "Okay, like, I thought you from New Orleans," you know what I'm saying? It was just like the same type of griminess, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it was a different flavor, you know what I'm saying? Right. So it was like, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, you had this perception of what Avondale, New Orleans, all these other surrounding areas had this perception of what Avondale was supposed to be, the people from Avondale, you know what I'm saying? Like, so do you think, by having this diverse of people, you know what I'm saying, do you think it like played into the culture of Avondale?
Honestly, I really don't. Being the kid that I was, and I mean, like I said, man, you got to think this is. Bro, we went outside in the 80s. You're absolutely right. That's what I was just about to say. Like, you got to think, back then as kids in the 80s, it was a different time. We had different music. We had like gangster rap was in right now. Everybody wanted to be a gang member and stuff like that. So being an adult now, looking back at it, it could easily have been that if we wouldn't be the little hellions that we was, like after we grow up, we all went through our phase. We see how to be a respectable civilization human and shit.
Right.
You can say it like that, but the drugs have gotten so bad. I don't know if it could. So like it took a total different change to what it was supposed to be. But we're gonna get into later on that part.
Yeah.
Like
and
they got some good stuff.
I did maybe play in a bit, because when I think of blue collar people, I think of people that work with their hands, people that are outside. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's like, if these people have their families, they're used to being outside, working on the shipyard, working on the train yard, working with their hands. So they're gonna have kids that, hey, bring your ass outside. Hey, don't you cry because you just, skint your knee or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, these kids are gonna be tougher. And like I said, that's the people that I met from Avondale. Y'all cats were tough. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what.
Well, that's it. Like a lot of our dads was my dad worked for the grain elevator, but like a lot of my friends' dad, like they did constructions, cut grass and stuff like that. So we always worked around with them when we was younger, and give you something to do during the summertime. As we got older, though, it wasn't like that. People's parents was retiring. People's parents was moving out of that. We were finding different trends to get into, and we're gonna tap into that when we come back from this commercial break. But all for all, it was just a different time growing up, and like that played the biggest part in it right there. And now being older, being able to look back on it all, like. All of us, man, we really got to watch that cultural change, and it's amazing from the stuff that we were doing. Because I want you to think like this is how I look at it. Like I'm gonna get into it in the show, but like we did a lot of drugs. Like we smoked weed, we did a lot of acid, we did a lot of ecstasy. But like when I say like the drugs are too far gone now, like I don't consider that harsh drugs. That's something that you do going through a phase and all. Like I'm talking about like the cocaine, the crack, the heroin, like that. It evolved to that, and that's that part. I don't know how hard it's going to be to get it back away from that. Because like, well, I'll tell you what, we're gonna take this quick break because I got a lot to talk about on this. We're going to take a jump into a quick break from our sponsors and all, man, and y'all tune back in, and we're going to take this back to the 80s when we get back.
Hey, what's going on, man? It's cornerback Delvin Brew here from your favorite team, New Orleans Saints. I just want to go ahead on and give a shout out to STWF Media for allowing me to come on and talk about my testimony, my story, and also talk fantasy football. I just want to say thank you, man, for the honor. I appreciate you, man. Y'all make sure y'all tune in tonight at 7:30 Central Time. Bro Show out.
Hey, welcome back. Shout out to Sports Talk with Friends for putting us on. Uncle Leroy, and we got Jason over here in the corner playing this game. But we're going to take Lil J's Donuts. That's why we're live from Lil J's Donuts every week. That's where we put it on at. That's why Jason feels like he needs to come up here to his shop. It's his show now, he says, too. But I do want to take this back to the 80s. Man, growing up in Avondale, it really was the best time. You got to be a kid. Like the neighborhood itself was surrounded by woods. Like it don't matter which direction you went in, you was gonna hit woods when you left Avondale. Unless you was either gonna hit woods or you was gonna hit the train yard. And the train yard was very beneficial to us as kids. That was transportation for us. Like when we got a little bit older, hang on, I'm jumping the gun on this first. So, dude, like I got a lot to say about Avondale. So growing up, like we was good, man. I actually went to an elementary school that was one block over from us. All of our both of my elementary and my junior high school was both in Avondale. We had our own fire department. There used to be things, and which I think is a big part of the problem now. Like when we were growing up, we had the Knights of Columbus that was in all the way in the back. It's a church now. I actually do donations with them twice a month, where they bring the donuts to the kids to kind of preach to the kids, kind of keep them off the street. And that's what we need more of. So back when we were kids, we had the Knights of Columbus that would do a spook house. Now, before you had like the House of Shock and like all these like big rock and $25 one, man, we charged like $5 to go through it. And dude, we had one of the best spook houses ever. Before that one, they used to do the backyard spook houses, which is what we need more of. Like that brings your community together. Like $3 to go through somebody's backyard, and it'd be the best spook houses you had. But we had stuff like that to keep us occupied as kids. The Phillips, man, like Mr. Tim, Danny, Uncle Donnie, like they always had something going on that we could do when we was growing up. We used to put on skits and stuff. Like we did a womanless wedding and do stuff like that, where it would be like all of us kids and men, and we would put on these skits for the neighborhood and stuff. And that's how we raised money to be able to put the spook house on. We actually did a bikini contest. I was actually in it. We did.
You was a bikini?
Well, we was raising money for the spook house, so we actually did a bikini contest, and we hired real judges to come judge this bikini contest, and they didn't know it was going to be all guys in these bikinis. Dude, I actually went and borrowed my grandma's like 1950s bikini, dude. It was awesome, bro. It was hilarious. But we did stuff like that, and it actually helped keep us off the street. We had the gym, like back then they was rivals. So like it was something to play sports for the gym, like you would take on Harvey, Westwego, Pard, stuff like that. You don't never hear stuff like that no more unless you play for a school. Like the playground action ain't there.
Right, bro, and it goes back to the history, and I think to to how Avondale was formed, because it's a family-based city.
Right.
Based on blue collar. Because all the stuff that you're talking about, me being from out the Seven Wall, from out north, we didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? Like the only thing we had at the park was people selling drugs, drug activity.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
See, that came later for us. That came like we had. He just passed away recently, man. But we had Mr. Burkhart. I'm gonna put some respect on his name, even though I know that's not what everybody called him. But I'm gonna put some respect on Mr. Burkhart. He taught everybody boxing. Like he was actually a landmark in Avondale to what Avondale was supposed to be. Like close community. Everybody knew him from the gym. Like you can go talk to this man. Like the man, he did everything he could to try to keep us off the streets. And it's almost like he kind of saw what was going, but he had a lot of badass boys too. So like I'm sure he went through headaches too. He's got a daughter too that was hell on wheels too. I went to school with her, but the community was a lot like that. Like everybody's parents knew everybody. Everybody knew who we was. Like for as much trouble as we got into, it really didn't benefit, because by the time we got home, somebody already had done called our parents anyway.
Right.
Like when we would get in trouble at school, they would call our parents and they'd just come up. Like, dude, I've been suspended where I've just walked home before. Like they just send us home. Like it was a different time, but we didn't have school shootings. We didn't bring weapons to school, nothing like that. Like everything was always after school. Like if you had a problem with somebody, you did it after school. And it was crazy because Avondale, like all of us, and then you got Wagaman, which is a neighborhood, stupid turf shit. When we was kids, like we always fought Wagaman. And so like Wagaman had to come to Avondale to go to school. So like now you're in our neighborhood in the school and shit. Like, dude, it goes back to there was only one street to get in and one street to get out of it. So like there was always some bullshit. And even when other neighborhoods would come in, like, we would just go sit, like, do what you're gonna do, but we'd be sitting at the Shell station up front because you got to come past through here to get out to some bitch. So that, like, do whatever hell you gonna cause, but you're gonna catch it up here at this red light. And then, like, we knew there was nothing like the police was only gonna chase us to the woods. Once we made it to the woods, but they didn't have drones. They didn't have technology like they do now. So we knew as long as we made it to the woods, we was good. Like they not coming after us.
That's how we felt in the city. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because, we make it, if I make it to my street, you know what I'm saying, make it to, certain spot, the police ain't really going to come.
They ain't coming in there. They ain't coming in there. And back then, the police wasn't trying to chase nobody anyway. Like,
that's true. Well, they had the war on drugs back then.
You know what I'm
saying? I mean, because I ain't much know they had this type of action going on out there in Avondale, bro. Like, I swear, I only thought they just had people just, like smuggling stuff in from on the ship. You know what I'm saying? People just robbing the train. I didn't know that they had all of this stuff going on.
Well, shit. So when I was a kid, granted, innocence of a kid, you don't know nothing. It was, like I said, you knew when we was growing up the way the neighborhood was, like you knew where everybody was because everybody's bike was parked out front and everybody's bike was laying in the front yard. So you knew where everybody was. You knew when that street light came on, time to have that ass at home. My boy Kendall and his brother David, man. Gerald used to be out there with us, fucking everybody, really, man. But Kendall and Kendall's brother David was a little bit older, so he drove. They used to literally drive up and down the streets, Brian. You see a kid outside, it's like, hey, you want to go play football at the park? And we'd go down to the gym, and like you get enough people going together, play kickball, baseball. Kendall's has a sister, Kim Cooper, man. Let me tell you, dude, we kids out here playing softball, bro. They pitch Kim this fucking softball, bro. Like the softball, she knocked the skin off this bitch, bro. Like we had to stop playing this game, bro, because she eradicated this fucking ball. You hear me? But
hold up. Wait, I can't let you just walk past that.
Dude, that was the first time I've ever seen that happen, bro. I was amazed. Like she knocked the leather off that ball, bro. Like, yeah, love my boy Robbie. What's up, man? But like stuff like that. Like we grew up in the woods. They had a bunch of canals back there. We go crawfishing. Yeah, like it wasn't nothing for like during the summertime on a Wednesday. Like we'd all get together as kids. We go crawfishing, and then we'd run up, take them over to Ronnie's house, and his dad would boil them up for us and stuff. Like that wasn't out of the normal nowhere. It's like that was a normal weekend for us as kids. You go hunting in the woods and you get some sparrows or some rabbits. You go by somebody's house, we cooking it, you know. Like, and that was growing up in the 80s there. What's up, man?
In the 80s in the city, we stealing bicycles, you know what I'm saying? Playing basketball.
Right. Playing throw up tackle at school and stuff. What's up, buddy?
Right. That is crazy.
It's not going to fall. Okay, I can't do nothing about that right now, buddy.
Hey, let's bring Jason on. Let me see.
Jason's freaking out.
Diana Palmer says, hello, Jason.
Tell him hi.
Hey, big guy. Where you at?
Look, come here.
Nephew ran off on the plug. He ran off on the plug to get his game.
Look, I said he's just worried about his game now.
So we got Diana. She says, hello, Jason.
Mama, Miss Diana. Yeah, say hi.
Hey, Miss Diana.
Oh, you want to work my eyes? But yeah, man, so everything was good for me personally until I hit junior high. Henry Ford. I was not ready for junior high school.
Hi, Papa, Grandma.
I love Papa, Grandma. Hey, you want to go play a game? Yeah, okay.
Hold on, wait.
So we'll put that chair over here.
Going down here now. So Robert, he says, gentilly repping, like keeping dad and CK in check.
Look, you talk about Jason's keeping me in check. All right, here you go, buddy. All right. You got it?
Jack. Okay, Jace. Gotcha.
All right, sit down. You got to sit down. All right, now we're good to go. No, don't swing. That's how you fell last time. Broke your arm.
Hey,
So,
I'm telling you, we will go viral. Now we're gonna delete this if he falls in this chair.
no. Stop. You're gonna have to get down if you keep doing that, okay? All right. So going into junior high, that's where I got introduced to like the drug side of things. Oh yeah? Okay. You got if you're gonna play your game, go play your game over there. Okay. That's where I really got introduced to the first thing I ever got introduced to was marijuana. And then once I started smoking and stuff, man, I want to say I was like 13. I started learning like you start hanging around.
13. So you know they say marijuana is the gateway drug. So how did you get introduced to this?
Honestly, because I wanted pussy. Like that's pretty much what it boiled down to. Like seeing like the older kids and the older gen, like everybody was smoking. It's like, well, if you had this, you can get that. So that's kind of like where it all started at for me. Like you learn that over the time, and so, but it quickly involved this to other stuff. Because like I said, once you start now you smoking, so now you start hanging around more people that smoke. All right, so. Then you start finding out, I ain't gonna say no names, but there's a lot of your friends' parents are actually dealers. Like, so now you find out, like, some of your friends, like, one of my friends' dads was a big time dealer. Like, dude had ice chests, like, he had plants. Like, my friend's not with us no more, but, like, dude, I remember plants going from, like, the floor to the ceiling to the floor back up to the ceiling. Like, we'd be walking around with buds in our school bag, bro. And that was normal, bro. Like, that just. It wasn't a big thing to us. And then that's when I got introduced to shrooms. And then that wound up being a big part of Avondale because Avondale is surrounded by cow fields. People had their dairy cows out there and stuff. Well, you get shrooms and cow shit. Dude, we would go out into these fields. Dude,
I never knew that fucking shrooms come from cow shit.
Like we literally spent years digging through cow shit. But you got to think of it like being little troublemaking kids and all, man. Like that was free money to us because you can go out into a shroom field, pick the shrooms. All of our parents are at work, so now you go to somebody's house and you cook them down. We pour them into like 2 liters and you mix some Kool-Aid with it. Well, now we were selling 2 liters for $40. All it cost us was a pack of Kool-Aid. Bruh. Because like anybody could have went out there and picked their own, but nobody wanted to. Nobody wanted to do that. We got time. We ain't doing shit anyway. So, bro, you go out.
What the hell? I want to know what kind of balls you had. What kind of, like when you out there with this big ass cow, do you ask the cow, hey, Mr. Cow, can I dig in your shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, how is it?
You're actually going to stay away from the cows because them cows will fuck you up. Like, them cows. Dude, I remember one time we was out in this field, and so we get the hair in our ass to, like, Jack had a fucking coat, and we start pouring off, like, washing off the shrooms out in the field and eating them bitches, bro. Dude, my friend John, so the bulls start coming and shit, man. So once the bulls and the cows start coming after you, you got to go climb up a tree, get the fuck out of there. Bro, this motherfucker climbs up this tree, bro, and he's sitting on this branch with his legs out. Dude, this cow walked right underneath him, bro. This dude looked up, gave a thumbs up, bro, and jumped down on this cow. So now you got everybody tripping in this fucking field watching your friend ride a cow around this bitch. And the cow ain't fucking happy. Dude, this cow took a dead fucking bead for this tree, bro, and ran into that bitch, bro. John had to bail off that thing, bro. That cow was getting him off of that motherfucker, bro. Like, but a lot of downside came with that, because, like, the people that own those fields, we always talk, oh, they don't care. Yeah, they fucking care. They didn't want to sit in the field with them cows. And them dudes would come out with salt rock, bro. Like, they ain't not one of us, I don't think, ever been in that field that ain't never got shot with salt rock. Like, them dudes used to be pissed, bro. Like, yeah, and they ain't nothing worse than getting shot. Dude, that's just a little small fraction of it. That's just the shroom side. Cause dude, So now you got to figure we teenagers walking up and down South Jamie Boulevard, and like everybody think we got like a gallon of Kool-Aid in our hand. We drinking shrooms, tripping our ass off, bro, walking down this bitch.
Oh, trippy heels for real.
No. And then through that, I started learning, you know, then the acid came. Like the first time I ever actually smoked a joint was with my cousin. We was on a fishing trip, and I asked him, I was like, man, what's that do to you? He was just like, handed it to me. He was like, well, that's how that started. Then we started with the shrooms, and then from the shrooms, it went like, come to find out, another friend of ours. Then now you got friends that are becoming dealers, and like acid and ecstasy was like candy in Avondale. Like it wasn't shit to get that. And now, if you mix young adults, a low-income neighborhood, and drugs, violence is gonna automatically come with that. Like that's just hand in hand. So now you got a bunch of kids all fucked up and shit, and so like we actually started us a gang, bro. Like we listening to fucking Tupac and NWA and shit, thinking we called ourselves the 2-3 Crips and shit. Like we thought we was some bad motherfuckers back then. Dude, there used to be a teen club, Sharky's Reef, out there, bro. Like everybody used to go to Sharky Reef. We'd be out there with our green hats and bandanas and shit, bro, thinking we running shit. You had Harvey. That was one of our rivals. So you had the Harvey Dogs. They were Bloods. That was their gang. Like it's funny to see what we thought we was now that we're grown. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like who do we think we was?
Okay, well, I gotta ask a question now. Right. You see that Jason right there? He said, "Okay, so do you see him joining the Harvey? I mean, you know,
Dude, I'd be so, bro, dude. So like when we were getting into all our shit, man, and a lot of our what's up? What? No.
I can hear you, Jason.
He's trying to make Papa come get him. But like I said, so in the back neighborhoods, that was the Vietnamese project, so to say. A lot of our beef came with that. And then hang on a second. No. But when we come back from this commercial break, we're gonna get into how everything started falling out with the Vietnamese in the back of the neighborhood.
Oh, okay. Well, we got the Vietnamese beef.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Darwin Price, man, Ground Sound. I want to give a big shout out to STWF Media, the big brand. You know what I'm saying? Where you can talk sports with NFL players and all type of fans, man. Go follow them on Facebook community. The big brand, STF Media, man. Shout out to them. Thank you for the support. Go follow them, Facebook, everywhere.
Hey, welcome back, and thank y'all for checking out our sponsors right quick. You'll be all right. Don't spill that milk. I love boys on fire tonight.
They see our sponsors, but that's who owns us right there. Nephew,
that right there. That's little Jay. That little Jay. That's my boss. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He don't let me take holidays off or nothing. But yeah, man, like, so growing up, we had like I said, it was mixture, like we was all friends, man. Like we had Spanish, we had black, we had white. Like it wasn't nothing to go like your white friends go sleep by your black friend's house, your black friends come sleep by your white friend's house. It wasn't like it is now at all, man. Like it was a different time in Avondale. I wound up leaving the first time, I want to say when I was 19, and then I wound up coming back. When I came back, it was worse than what it was. But I came back, I was part of the problem. But it all started, so like when we're going to school, like I said, we started our little gang, 2-3 Crips. You had the Vietnamese in the back. Well, they wound up calling themselves the Holy Posse. Dude, you couldn't walk down the street by yourself when we was in junior high school because you'd probably get jumped by the Vietnamese. Same thing for the Vietnamese, though. Don't let us catch you by yourself because now there's going to be a retaliation because you probably beat one of our asses yesterday. And that was the everyday thing, dude. Like, I would hate for Jason to have to go to school like that. Like, every day you don't know if you're gonna get in a fight.
What are the Vietnamese people doing in Avondale?
Dude, it was like it was like a little small community where they started coming in, and they it was like a Vietnamese project. Like, a lot of them parents got to buy them houses. They got tax free. A lot of them own like little stores and stuff. Oh, look at you! Come on. They had a lot of stores and stuff, but that's what it was. They had their own church.
Because that's how it is out in Michigan. You know what I'm saying? Like, in Michigan, it's a lot of Vietnamese community. You know what I'm saying? And that's where they are. So I've never heard that, you know, like you said, Vietnamese people being out there in Avondale in that area. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to tell you the craziest thing. When I was going to Saratoga, I seen the people like this. You know, there's this movie, Gone in 60 Seconds, right? I've never witnessed a car get stolen so fast than when I was out there in Michigan. They had a freaking Honda Accord gone. They stole it in less than fucking 30 seconds. I've never seen this in my life.
See, the stealing cars came later in the 90s for us when some of our friends started getting into like drag racing and stuff. Like that all wound up coming in later on. Back with this, man, like, dude, there's so much hell. But I will say, and like I said, growing up back then was another time. So when they was building the Vietnamese houses back there, like I said, some of our friends' parents was in the construction and stuff. It's Mr. Ivan. That's Uncle Ivan. That's his name.
I like the mask.
Love. So a lot of our friends' dads was in the construction and stuff, dude. I can vouch for it, and some people can vouch for it, man. We had a clubhouse that was like no other, dude, because while they was building this Vietnamese project back there, we were actually stealing the wood and stuff and bringing it back to the woods. And like Danos was doing that. Like they were building, they built a house, bro. We had a house in the clubhouse, but then that's why you wound up taking everybody to go party. That thing lasted for a little while, bro. They let me say, they did that, and a few of us got to take joy in the pleasurements of that. But the woods aren't like that, because like now there's a road that goes back there. There's like Jetco, the people that loaned me the money for the shop, like they're back there. There's a racetrack back there now. Like it's developed, so it's not the woods that it was when we was growing up. You got hotels, a new neighborhood back there. Like, used to be, we always used to talk about, you can go down the Rock Road by the pumping station, and there was the airfield back there and stuff. I don't know if the airfield's still there, but there was used to be the rumor that the pumping station back there was mafia owned, and they'll feed you to the alligators and stuff. Like it was all kind of like little stuff like that.
I watch crime movies to know, hey, shipyards, shipping containers, mafia.
Right. Look, but that's when we was growing up. Like, there was the man in the green van where like you outside playing kickball at night, and when you see headlights, everybody go run to hide behind a car and stuff. You don't even see kids outside anymore. Like you don't even see the kids out there playing no more. Like, it was just an overall different time. But then now we're getting older. The drugs are taking a serious part into it, because now you're making money. There's a couple of names out there. Like, I'm not gonna name people for the bad parts of the shit, but like they was just certain people you knew you can go see that they always had it. That doesn't matter what it is. Like, a lot of them was young and was actually like legit dealers and shit. So like, if your partner is the dealer, you know you're getting an automatic fucking deal right there. So that's pretty much how we survive. Like, everybody's parents like, oh, you need to get a job, but at the same time, why when I'm making this? Like, why am I gonna go do this when I'm making this much money doing this? Like, it didn't make no sense. All right, you leaving? All right, bye-bye. Yeah, Papa, come get him. Jason's like, I'm out. It's my bedtime.
Hey, well, I mean, he's indicative of evidence. He wants to get out and play with his hands. Get out.
Dude, and that's that's what it wound up becoming to me. To like, I wanted to get away from that, and then I wound up leaving. But then that's all I knew, so it wound up getting worse for me when I left because I started meeting the right people, or I already met the right people, and then when I left, I was put in a unique situation to where I already knew who to call. So then, like, you get addicted to, like, you get a small taste of that. Like I said, man, like drugs brings pussy. It's a matter of fact. So like you get a small taste of that growing up. And then once you get that small taste of it and you go outside of that and you start new and you the new guy, like, dude, I started getting my tattoos. I had fucking wild ass blue mohawk and shit. You start grabbing that attention. Now you already had a little taste of that attention. Now you want more of that. And that's, we're gonna get into that in other shows, but this is where it started at, is just that little taste of that attraction, so to say. And, you know, right, like growing up, I got to see like all like the older generations and stuff, and my peers and stuff, like they're the cool kids, like they're the ones that's getting the ass, they're the ones that everybody want to be around, and it's like, fuck, you know, I want to be that dude. Take it outside of here though. Like Avondale is gonna be Avondale, and once the crack and shit started to say, I never got into crack like that. I like cocaine. Don't put no baking soda in it. Like that's fine, just the way it is for me. And that's really when I wound up leaving, because I already knew I would have just fell right in suit with that, no problem, like easily. And everybody, my parents.
Wait, we gotta stop it. We got Mama Dean in the building.
Swanky Golf Club too. I have no fucking idea what she meant by that.
Hey, I like the swanky part. You know what I'm saying?
You know
what I'm saying? Like, for real. But definitely gonna salute the dog.
Shout out to moms for sure. I have no idea what that comment was supposed to be.
Oh, I'm sure you're gonna hear about it later.
I'm sorry. I'm 100% positive. I'm 100% positive. But like I said, man, growing up, like we had that stuff as kids to keep us occupied, so to say. Like there was always something going on, and slowly but surely that stuff started disappearing. And when that stuff started disappearing, man, like we started doing hood rat shit. We needed something to keep ourselves occupied. We started stealing bikes. We started fucking each other over. We started doing shit. But the fucked up part about it is though, like you in Avondale, so like we doing this to our own selves and shit. Like we're literally self-destructing ourselves. Growing up, man, there's a family, good friend of mine to this day, man, Larry. Good. He's an amazing chef down in the city, man. Like there was 5 of them, 2 sets of twins plus Tim. Like I hung out a lot of times at their house, man. And their dad, like I said, blue collar, trying to raise fucking 5 kids, and now you got say 10 kids, because that's where everybody went after school. So like this dude got tired of us eating his food and shit. He literally put chains and locks on them refrigerators and cabinets. So then we wound up finding the lady that had chickens that was selling eggs for 75 cents a dozen. So we eating eggs after school. Like we were set. Like we were very, very self-sufficient as kids, which kids ain't like that no more. Like we left our house in the morning when we woke up, and we didn't come back till it was time for us to be back, and until it was time, we didn't care if we got in trouble no more. Like my parents used to always bitch at us. You had to pass in front of my street that my house was on, no matter where you went in Avondale. And my parents used to always bitch. You couldn't have just stopped in and said, look, I'm going here. Because you tell me where you're going when you leave the house, but then we go 50 other places throughout that day. You have no idea where we at and shit. That's where the train yard come into play. Like there's many a times we would ride our bikes across the highway to the train yard. Well, you go hide your bike and hop on that train. You can ride that train to Wagaman. Go down to Wagaman. Now you're getting some Wagaman pussy. See, it's a whole other neighborhood down there. Once you knew about 5:30, you got to be back, because you got to catch that train back to Avondale. If not, that's a long.
So I want our viewers, everyone that's viewing, understand, like, this is not like, in New Orleans, we got the streetcar train or the, you know what I'm saying?
No, this is the actual fucking train. like a locomotive, real ass fucking train. You see, like it's like you have to run and jump
like
on.
Lost Boys, where people ride the fucking trains.
Well, it ain't. It's not a people train. It's a cargo train. So it's a lot of like wood, like from the shipyard. A lot of wood, a lot of material. We used to actually rob these trains. So like you jump on the train, and then like one time it was a liquor train. So we're throwing cases of liquor off this motherfucker, bro. Dude, a friend of mine actually got in trouble because they jumped on the train. It was actually an Army train, and he tried to take grenades off that motherfucker. Well, Army keeps track of they shit. He got in trouble for that. But yeah, dude, like legit train. You got to run and grab hold this motherfucker, pull yourself on, and then when it's time to jump off, you got to tuck and roll, bro, because the train ain't gonna stop for you. Like you gotta get off of it. If not,
so this was like one of those real like. BSF trains, like the railroad trains that's just going through these country roads.
South Pacific train, yes. Because there's a train station, so like they would stop. Now, when I say that, like it ain't like this thing's going full speed ahead. Like on the way back, because leaving Avondale, there's a train yard right there. So they're gonna slow down to get to that train yard because they got to stop and check in and stuff. So no matter what, like they either taking off or they're slowing down. So it's not like you're jumping off of a speeding train, but that bitch is still moving. You can fuck yourself up for sure. Like you can definitely fuck yourself up if you ain't do that shit right.
Wow.
But we spent a lot of time. Like that was transportation to us. Like we wasn't getting on the bus. Like shit, fuck that bus. Like we bus cost. This was free. Like we was free. But then like again, man, it was a different time because like we would literally ride our bike. To like you meet a girl, man, in Westwego. You're gonna ride your bike to Westwego. You ain't catching a kid. You couldn't catch a kid doing that shit no more now.
Ride the bike, but period. But to Westwego, that's
the neighborhood, dude. You ride that bitch to Harvey for the day, bro. Like it's a good time to be alive in the 80s. Like it wasn't the same. Like now you don't even see kids outside on the bikes no more. Like that was our transportation now. Parents are only gonna take your ass so far, and they ain't all they work all day, so they're not trying to drive us nowhere.
Right, facts.
Like you had to be set. We had everything we needed was in Avondale. We had a Winn-Dixie, we had the hardware store. That was one of the cool things. Like now being grown up, looking back at it, like we had a lot of the mom and pop places. Like there was any and every fast food you could want up on the front. But there was a donut shop. There was the little store. There was the True Value. There was the Sunbeam grocery store. And Beasley.
You said True Value? No one knows what a True Value is.
Dude, we had a 7-Eleven and a Time Saver.
What?
Dude, like we had a Time Saver. That's what we used to always walk up to the front, man. And I go get my football cards and bring your quarter. Look, we had the Winn-Dixie.
Shout out to our Facebook. We tapped in our Facebook. You says Winn-Dixie?
See, and we had Winn-Dixie originally was on the new side of the other side of Avondale, and then they wound up leaving that. Nothing became of that really. That's just dead warehouse space, and they moved it across the street. But now that's not even a Winn-Dixie no more. Now it's like Shoppers, some shit or something. I don't know. I see a lot of people complaining about it.
Hey, all right, now I'm gonna check your Winn-Dixie card now. So Winn-Dixie got their own brand of sodas. So what's your favorite?
None. I don't drink none.
Hey, that's how y'all rolling out there.
I'm a diehard Barks root beer. I've been my whole life. I will live and die by Barks root beer, dude. Like,
hey, y'all fancy, man.
Dude, look, I'm not deterring from it. Barks might as well just give me some money, bro. But like I went past. That's where you went wrong.
That's where you went wrong messing with the Westwego girls.
Dude. Well, no, I can't say that. I had a lot of good times in Westwego. Junk Boulevard, look, that's some good times. And even in the back of Westwego, man, there's a whole neighborhood back there by Bayou Segnet. Like if you knew somebody with a boat, Tenny. I don't think he's alive anymore, but like Granted, that damn dude couldn't get behind the wheel of a car without getting a DWI and crashing. But he used to take us back out there to the back there by Mr. Black's house, man. And there was some wild ass parties there. That's really what I got to learn how much drugs was actually flowing through Avondale is when I went to that first party there. It was like, yeah, I wound up going to sit in the car and shit. Like I was fucked up that night. but it was, man.
We got all 2278. He says, "Yup, I live back there and seen a lot of shit."
Dude, we literally watched the crime develop, and it got nothing but worse. Like when I was growing up, man, it was really just a lot of like we were fighting. Like it was like somebody took an ass whooping, you went home, and it was over with. And then something happened. There was an incident where there was going to be a fight, and we were all actually on like the next street over. And a fight broke out, but then it was a setup to get one of our friends by himself, and then it was raining and stuff. A lot of shit happened. Well, when he took off running, he actually got hit by a car. He was killed, and that really is what started the crime, like the killings and stuff. And because then there was retaliation for that, and then right after that is when I left the first time. But you start seeing like through the news and stuff, man, like the crime just started getting worse and worse. And then like the mom and pop shops started leaving and closing down. And man, once you got a community that has those mom and pop shops and they start closing down, that's pretty much the death of that neighborhood. Like it ain't never going to be the same. And especially like you go drive back there now and look at it, there's nothing back there. Like the buildings are still there, but there's nobody in them. The grass is all overgrown and shit. Like it's got a really dark, eerie feeling to it, and it hopes to. I see what it was supposed to be, and it could easily be that, but it's like, how do you get the drugs out of there now? Because like it's done got so far blown. Tanglewood, that was another one. Dude,
yeah, I think I know what Tanglewood's at. Like Westwego, I had a few midnights out there. You know what I'm saying? And also, a fucking guy almost got jumped out there in Forest Hill. I think that's how Westwego.
That's what I'm telling you, bro. Back in the day, like you listening to NWA and Fiend and Master P and shit like that, man. What the fuck you think's gonna happen?
Facts.
That's true, man. Coach Lee.
You say crimes out prosperity.
That's a fact. That's a fact, man. And like I said, man, once those companies start leaving and like you're not bringing nothing else in, it just becomes a dead cell. And like driving through there, that's what it was. You don't never hear about like the big rivals like Avondale versus Pard or like Avondale versus Caney Heights. Like that football game, like that used to be the rival right there, man. Like us versus Caney Heights, because you both Avondale, but you're not at the same time. Like you don't never see, you don't. Was that
crazy to go to a club? There was the Big Daddies out there in Kennedy Heights. I never knew that Kennedy Heights was part of Avondale. Yeah.
It's the same thing. Like, so you got Caney Heights is a part of Avondale, but then Caney Heights and Avondale is actually a part of Westwego. Like it's so confusing the way it works, but it's actually Westwego. It's all 70094 area code. But if you ask any, but and as I said, if you ask anybody that grew up there, you either grew up in Bridge City, Westwego, Avondale, or Caney Heights. You wasn't from just Westwego or just Avondale. Like there was levels to that shit. Like no. If you didn't grow up off of South Jamie Boulevard on either side of the highway, you're not technically from Avondale. You're from Caney Heights, Wagaman, Bridge City, whatever, you know. that being little young punk kids, well, yeah, that automatically. Bridge City really wasn't no problem because it's so small. Like even if they wanted to try to do something, it'd be like 3 people. Like there wasn't really much that they could do.
Hey, bro, I'm telling you, out of all my times in New Orleans, I've never I'm gonna say I probably met somebody from Bridge City one time. You know what I'm saying?
The people that live in Bridge City has been living in Bridge City for that's generations on generations on generations in Bridge City. And because at one time it was popping because of the shipyard. My Uncle Dallas actually had a bar out there right across the street from the shipyard, bro. And that place was balling, bro, because
Oh
Dude,
man.
every time you get when they would get off of work, they would go to his bar. You get lunch there. They would cash their checks and stuff there. Avondale. You're right. See, when I was growing up between Wagaman, that was the rival for the football games. We called them Wagga women. They called us Avondale.
Like, I read that, I'm like, Avon's fair.
Yeah. Bro, like that playing them sports, man. Football, baseball. Yeah. Wagaman was one of our biggest rivals because that's the next neighborhood over. So that we always had that's who our sports games. Them Candy Heights, Pard, like, but you don't never hear about those games. I don't even know if they still play those games anymore. To be honest with you, I don't even know if Avondale still has a football team.
I remember hearing about Wagner. You know what I'm saying? I remember about Wagner football team on, Friday Night Lights. And like I said, like Kennedy Heights had women. That's all I know from Kennedy Heights. I used to cut school, the whole school day, and go to Kennedy Heights. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a Kennedy Heights fan. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like I didn't know that they had different levels. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know that I could be going to Kennedy Heights and get jumped by a dude from Wagaman, Avondale, and Bridge City.
See, and that's where when we went to Ford and Catherine Australia and Ford, like so you're taking these three neighborhoods and you're putting them all in one school. Well, yeah, you got confrontation in that school now. And like it was more our school because we lived in that neighborhood. Y'all are coming here. And then there wasn't all this ADD, all this kind of shit back then. Like our parents beat our ass when we was acting up. And then, like, they started bringing in programs at school. They started at Catherine Australia. They had the real program where they took like all the behavior problems, the hyper kids, put us all in one class. That was a total failure. And then when I got to junior high, we had a disciplinarian man. He was cool, Mr. Bennett. He was a karate man. But he got the bright idea to take all the bad kids and try to teach us karate and shit. Well, now all you're doing is teaching us how to fuck other people up. So that really didn't work out neither. But he tried though. I give him effort on that. Like he tried that. And then once my second turn around in the 7th grade, I was struggling with it. I wound up just quitting school. I was done with it. And then being at home, everybody pressuring me to get a job. You got to get a job. And it's like, well, why I got to go get a job? I know my friends that's got this. I see what they doing. I'm going to just coast by on this. But the problem is you so small time at that time. You just making money just to get high every day. So that, like I said, that starts that addiction and that attraction to everything to where now you need more, but you ain't going to get more out of this neighborhood. This neighborhood's already bled dry. And that's when I wound up leaving. I was like, now, okay, the crack's coming in. People are starting to kill themselves. I'm not about that. I still want to do the cocaine and go party and everything. So that's when I wound up leaving. And then you hear about it on the news now and then. And then social media winds up being a thing. And then like through social media, you get to reconnect with people. And you see how many people are actually dying now. And it's like all the childhood people you grew up with ain't there no more. Like a lot of them are, but a lot of them's not. And it's over stupid shit. Like a lot of it, we damaged ourselves so much with all the drugs and everything to where like once we started growing up, some of us couldn't handle that. And it wound up taking a toll on some people. And they wound up taking their own life. It's hard. It's hard to
So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to ask you, so, like in the hood, you know what I'm saying? Like in the urban hoods, it's like a lot of people do drugs just to deal with the deficiencies of, you know what I'm saying, of everyday life, of living in that area. You know what I'm saying? So it's like hearing how Avondale is. It's like it's y'all having the same type of problems, but so I want to know, is it like, do you think like those drugs was introduced into that neighborhood because of, the stress of the shipyards, or was it just something like, maybe the different type of people that's coming in from the, from that port? Like, why do you think drugs came in like that?
Recreational. That I honestly believe it just recreational. It was drugs. Those drugs were new at that time. Like drugs have been around for years and years and years, no doubt. But at that time in those 80s, the marijuana, cocaine, the Ronald Reagan war on drugs, like it was all starting to get popular and everything. And just like anything else, man, like if there's something new and it's taboo, you're gonna have interest in it. And blue collar working people, like they got a little bit of money. They like to have the barbecue, drink a beer, smoke a joint, do a line back then. Like I said, the 80s was the cocaine era. Like it started popping off real good there. And it was more of a recreational thing. And I believe it started off a recreational thing that some of these people found out that they can really make some money doing this shit. And then that's some of my friends' parents that you started just like anything else. Like you get addicted to that lifestyle, so to say, and you get pulled right into it. Next thing you know, fucking you're at school and all your friends are talking shit because your dad just went to jail for getting popped with some shit. Granted, it wasn't mine, but like it was a fact of life, and it happened quite often too. It just became what the neighborhood became. Once the shipyard closed down, it went downhill quick because a lot of the jobs left. That started bringing in other people into the outside of the shipyard, what it was supposed to be. That's where the mixed income, mixed racial families started coming in because there was no shipyard. Right, there was no more shipyard. So now you got this whole neighborhood sell these houses for cheap, man, and you'd be all right.
So now you're impoverished because, like you said, the place that because like you said, just being from involved in urban hood society, you know what I'm saying? It's like like you say, a lot of people can't differentiate the different types of drugs. Like you say, cocaine, that's a recreational drug. Crack was like an addiction, a junkie drug. You know what I'm saying? Like that was type of different. So like now, okay, yes, you was in this community that had the ability to buy and use this celebratory type drug. Now, since the shipyard is closed, now you got this coping type of drug, which is crack and heroin and all these other type of drugs that just really gonna bring the level, the level of life down.
Down. See, and that's what when through my teenage years there, like I personally never got into pills, but I've watched that whole thing take off to where the girls love the pills. And so it started off being the pills, and then them pills, and the government knew what they was doing. Them pills are only going to take you so far before you wind up going out getting that crack or that heroin or that meth, because you need to take that next step. You can only eat so many pills in a day, and that heroin, for some fucking reason, is a lot goddamn cheaper, easier to get. Don't know why, but it just so happens to be like that. And I literally got to watch this neighborhood from when I was a kid to what it was, to where, not saying nothing bad about Avondale. I know they still got a bunch of good people that live there, but I personally would not want to raise my son there because I already know what his chances of success are going to be lower being in there, just because of what I can personally see that it's turned into. Like, you don't have those. We used to be able to go to the Winn-Dixie and have your little summer job, True Value. You don't have those little mom and pop places like that to give us those jobs in the summertime. You don't have the Knights of Columbus putting on the skits to try to help keep us off the street. I got some friends of mine that are still trying to keep the gym going, but it's none of it's like it used to be. And until they can get back to, I actually hope to open a donut shop out there one day, just to try to help get the stomping grounds back to what it used to be. But it's going to take a lot to get the drugs out of there for sure. Like you could just drive in there and see that it's there. But as far as buying a house and moving back there, I don't think I could ever do it. I wouldn't want to put Jason in that environment, because you're already going to have a hell. Like, day in the time I see the people on Facebook hollering about their kids are at Eric or Higgins and they constantly got gun threats and shit happening in school. Well, why I want to put my son in that school? Like, I see what y'all. I see what.
Florida. So I mean, so do you think, because of course, your environment shapes, plays a part of who you are. You know what I'm saying? Of the role we
for sure.
So is it that, you know what I'm saying, you like, since you're a byproduct of all of that, do you think you can show your son how to get through that and you don't want him to deal with that? Or do you think he may fall victim to that, just how you
exactly did? Like, you can teach your kid all you want at home, but if your peers are wrapped up in all of that, there's a highly chance your kid's going to be wrapped up into it all. It doesn't matter what you're pumping in their heads at home. If this is the end thing that his friends are doing, That's what he's going to do when he's out there. And I know there's a higher chance of success. Like, don't get me wrong, the neighborhood I live in now is a fucking good neighborhood. Like Harahan's a good neighborhood, but there's so much heroin out here, it's ridiculous. Like there's nothing, it's everywhere. But you ride through this neighborhood and you ride through that neighborhood, you can tell a difference. I know when Jason can walk to the wall. He's only 5 right now, but let's say he's a teenager right now. I know he can walk to that store. I know there's a very, very good chance he's going to walk to that store. He's going to come back home. You put him in Avondale and you do that same thing, because I walk those streets. There's a chance he's going to stop off by somebody's house. Those people are smoking weed, doing fucking crack, shooting up something. There's a highly chance that if that's what his friends are doing, that's what he's going to be doing. I'm not going to put him in that environment. And the community has to be the ones that come together to make that change. But at the same time, with the way this day and age is, how is the community supposed to come together to push these people out without getting retaliation when there's no police that's going to help you? Like, you can come together and push the drug dealer out the house, but if that dude's making enough money, well, he's just going to shoot one of y'all. Now everybody's scared. Nobody wants to fuck with nothing. So, like, there are a lot of good people that's still out there. There's some of my friends that still live out there, and I respect that they still there. But at the same time, I believe my son would have a better chance not being in there. And I believe you can pump whatever you want in their heads, but it's the other people's kids. Like all it takes is one bad seed to ruin that apple. And like, I watched it. I was a part of it. I was that bad seed in some people's lives. They was bad seeds in my life. Like, when you get older, you realize that when you're a kid, even though we think we know it all, you really don't. Like, you know what you're molded to know. Like just everything, school, society, and when you in school, and the more you being that ass clown and you fucking off in school, and them girls are laughing. Well, look, I know you mad, and I know my grades are bad, but these 3 girls over here want my attention now because I'm doing this, and that small little thing like that, and you don't even really know what pussy is yet. Like, you don't even know the beautiful things you can do with this, but that small little attention is gonna mold your life into it can go downhill quick, really quick. And that's just a part of it.
As a former teacher, we had a curriculum. Former 6th grade and 7th grade teacher of Orleans Parish Schools. We had a curriculum where we had to teach kids peer pressure. You know what I'm saying? Like at the 6th and 7th grade level, we have to introduce these kids, to the influences of peer pressure. Why is that a subject that has to be taught in the public school system?
Right.
Just think about it.
And they don't even do that anymore. And they don't even do that. And they don't even do that
anymore. You know what I'm saying? But that's one thing that has to be taught. Like, introduced to these kids, especially at that age of high influence. You know what I'm saying? Like you're saying, because if you can tell your kid all you want, but that little cute little girl that he had this crush on, this boy that she had that crush on, or this person they want attention from, they gonna do it.
Because they're even you look at back then, they had the dare against drugs. The cops and shit used to come to the school. Personally, all that there was taught us about the drugs, because this dude saying, and I hate to say it like that because they mean it for good, but now you're starting to see it in some of our family homes and stuff. You start noticing the marijuana, the low powdery stuff. And then now you're listening to this cop talk about it. Oh, and it's going to make your body numb. It's going to make you tingle. It's like, well, wait, this is going to do this. And I see how these people are acting, and I see how much fun they're having, and they're having all these parties and everything. I want to be a part of that. At peer pressure, you're going to fall. You're not going to go to your friend's house and everybody's tripping on acid. There's a 99% chance that you're not going to be that person that, oh no, I'm not going to do it. There was a few of us, but I wasn't one of them. Like what you got? Especially
because I want people to really, to our viewers right now, and the people that actually catch our replay, I want them to listen to you, because I was the advisor for SAVE, Students Against Violence Everywhere, which is a branch off of DARE program that you're talking about.
Yep.
And in the Orlando Parish School, we had a whole week. It was Save Week, where we had to do different things about, bringing understanding to kids on, save, students against violence, drugs, all of that. And I brought judges, lawyers, police officers, all them kids in there, all these people to talk to these kids about that. But guess what? They did not listen to them.
Nope. Because as I said, like it don't matter what you pound into the kid. Like you can literally put them down and make them write it on a piece of paper. I'm not going to do drugs. I'm not going to do drugs. 10,000 days out of 10,000 hours out of the day. It doesn't matter, because as soon as he gets up from that table, if that's what his friends are doing, that's what he's going to do. And you can't, unless you're physically going to uproot that kid and move out of that neighborhood, you really can't stop him from hanging out with those people. My parents tried to stop me from hanging out with certain people, and I would just sneak out and go over there. Oh, I'm going over here by this person's house, and we'll go run over there anyway. So, like, once you get to a certain age, we ain't have GPSs on phones and shit like that. Like, that's what I said, like, trying to look for old pictures. Man, we didn't take pictures of ourselves back then. Like, we didn't want pictures of ourselves, nigga. That's fucking evidence and shit. Like, that technology wasn't like it is today. And the technology, even with the way the technology is today, like you would think that they would be able to put a little bit better control on it. And it's like there's just certain neighborhoods, and I personally feel like Avondale is one of them, that once that shipyard closed, like they just kind of just let it die, like the government, so to say. They just let it go. Like there was no new infrastructures coming in. There was no new businesses coming in. They weren't even trying. Like they try to sell the shipyard. Shit, they still trying to sell this damn thing, man. We're 20 years later and shit. Like they don't.
That brings insight to how that, because that's the same way that urban hoods are developed. Same type of thing.
Exactly.
At some point, and then you know what? Funding stopped. Exactly.
It's like once it's not booming to what. Once it didn't meet the expectations the government wanted it to be, they give up on it. Well, now all of a sudden you're a problem neighborhood. Well, you put us here. You let it become this. It might not.
Hold on, wait. We can't drop nothing for the future shows now. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying, like, you can't expect to build a neighborhood based off of an industry and then take that industry away and think that neighborhood's still going to survive. Like you setting it up for failure right there on its own. But I hope this was educational for some people. I hope a lot of people liked what they heard about Avondale. I want to throw some stuff out there because throughout the shows, you're going to hear me reference Avondale a lot, man, because that was my stomping grounds. But I just want to give everybody an insight on where it started at. Like, we were all normal kids, like everything. 80s was the best time to be growing up, and then just over the years it evolved into this because there was really nothing else for us to do. Like, the stuff that we did have, it was taken away from us. So yeah, naturally we had to fucking self-entertain, and it was through drugs. That's what we did. But be sure to check us out, man. I want to give a huge shout out to Sports Talk with Friends for tapping in, man. Like, without them we wouldn't be doing this. Little J's for giving me the place to fucking be able to do it. Definitely, man, Uncle Leroy for chiming in with us. You know, it's always a pleasure doing the show with you. Be sure to check me out at popeclown.com, or you got YouTube, it's popeclown13. You can catch our replays, and always be sure to throw in a comment for us, man, because we constantly going back, checking them out and stuff. And we're here every Sunday at 8 o'clock, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. Until next week, we Pope Clown. Peace.
Wow.